So this poem is called Spiritual Bypassing. And I started working on this poem this morning. Today is July 22nd. And I woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and my thoughts was just going. So I'm like, let me just get this down on paper and get my thoughts out there into the universe. And I believe that everybody has a voice. I am currently working on my throat chakra. And let's just get into it. So it's titled Spiritual Bypassing. A lot of people are drowning in spiritual bypassing. Pay attention to how a person treats themselves and how they allow others to treat them. Do not confuse speaking one's truth about the behaviors of others as a form of their self-hate. I believe that when you love yourself, you will begin to strip yourself from spiritual bypassing. Love does require forgiveness, but forgiveness does not equate to the acceptance of abuse. My father always said, no one should endure abuse. That includes spiritual or religious abuse. Do not allow one's religious beliefs to exert power over you. Abuse comes in different forms, through forms of manipulation and exploitation. Censorships of decision-making is a form of abuse. Requirements for secrecy is a form of abuse. A requirement to be silenced or pressured to conform in order to get along is abuse. To be obedient to one's abuse is to be a slave. One must not drown in spiritual bypassing, avoiding anger in order to be liked, hiding from insecurities, protecting oneself from harm to promote harmony between people doesn't resolve the issues. Resolution is a true solution. Growing in spiritual bypassing stifles your growth. Savior complex, being gaslighted into staying silent when people have harmed you. Do not allow people off the hook for trying to destroy you. To believe that there is a silver lining in every negative experience is a superficial way of glossing over problems, only allowing you to feel better in the short term. Family members crossing boundaries, rather than confront them, you suppress your anger to prevent them from calling you a villain, repressing feelings and remaining overly tolerant, resorting to platitudes like good vibes only or it was for the best. Who does these statements actually help? Your coping mechanisms will come at a cost. Toxic positivity, permanent optimism. Who taught you to believe that you cannot be well or healthy until you take on the responsibilities of someone's bad choices? Excessive tolerance to unacceptable behaviors, emotional confusion, you live in a delusion, creating babies out of lies and dysfunction, which leads to more confusion. Just forgive, one must say, trying to conform you into what they've become. Feeling ashamed for how you truly feel, one must not shield others from their poor choices. Do not judge me for expressing my justifiable anger. Anger is a normal emotion. Because I must continue to bathe in my authentic spirituality doesn't equate to me suppressing how I feel because it makes you uncomfortable. Participating in activities that will stifle your growth. Instead of talking about conflict, you've learned to meditate. Use it as a shield to make yourself feel better. Spirituality, superior, isn't true growth. Every emotion serves a purpose. Allow each one to flow. Rose-colored sunglasses don't solve the problems. Uncomfortable feelings are a sign that something is wrong. All living entities must change. Change, change, change. All living entities must change. Change, change, change. I must change. You must change. We must change from who we were conditioned to be. Avoidance is a state of resistance. Resistance to change. What one resists persists. Using spirituality to avoid, suppress, or escape, you've been living in a spiritual jail cell of illusions. Self-inflicted suffering is unnecessary suffering. You must release yourself from this trap. Snap out of it. Snap out of it. Snap out of it. Respond. Reflect. Reevaluate. Recondition. Release. One must always respond in their truth. Reevaluate their decisions. Recondition their mental in order to be released from spiritual bypassing. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to my poem titled Spiritual Bypassing by A Soulful Tea. I hope that this poem resonates with someone. I hope that this poem allows us as humans to set ourselves free from spiritual bypassing and to not allow others to keep us in spiritual bondage. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you all on the next episode. Peace, love, and healing.